Colorado's biggest needs for next year. So, man, this was tough, right? I was thinking about how do I want to structure this a little bit, right? Like, where are these needs at? Where were they the worst at? And just kind of, and then I guess I got to the point where I wanted to tier it. And so I tiered it. Essentially, it's going to be your biggest needs, like stop, red lights flashing, your sirens, right? All those things. These are the ones. And I came up with 3 positions, and then a one that's not so much, maybe we're okay at, and then places they are good at, in my opinion. And again, doesn't mean that you cannot ever add enough talent, but just kind of wanted to do a deep dive into what is needed for this next year. So let's talk about this. The first one I had, just the biggest glaring number one need is a linebacker, right? And before that, I probably would have said offensive coordinator, but we're keeping it on the field here. But Brendan Marion seems like a solid hire. But biggest need for next year, linebacker. And again, you have these true freshmen coming in, Carson Crawford, Colby Johnson, and Rodney Colton. But, they are true freshmen. And it's not very often that they get to start, and they're the starter from the get-go. And, again, that would be fantastic if they were and they were ready to play. But, again, these are still, kids that are, 10 months removed from high school football, right? And then you're asking them to play at a Power 4 level. And, by the way, the Buffs open at Georgia Tech next year, right? So that's tough. That's tough. But I think the linebacker core, it was a huge hole this past offseason. This should be one of the top targets in a few weeks in the portal. Like, I don't think there's any way around it. This has been a position of need. Nikhai Hill-Green, when he was here, fantastic linebacker, but there was still limitations, right? Like, we knew that coverage was an issue, right? The same with Levante Bentley. Those dudes could still play, right? They were thumpers. They would light somebody up once a game, twice a game, right? You could hear, you knew who hit them if you could just hear it, right? But there were still questions around it, right? Like Nikhai Hill-Green, do not get me wrong, fantastic player, but right, there was still a little bit of limitations there, right? So I think that is going to be where you see the Buffs be very, very aggressive. I know whatever that whole craziness that happened in Michigan over this past week, just insane story, right? And I right away started thinking of what are they going to do? Like, right, your Bryce Underwoods, and more specifically, NOB, right? I'm very, very, he almost signed last year. I'm really curious to see what he does. I think I was reading something that he may stay, but man, I don't know. That program is I think they're going to lose a lot of players here in the portal over these next few weeks. It's going to be, we'll see what happens. But I mean, I know that NOB comes here. That dude's probably going to, he'll be able to start day one for Colorado. He's just that good. Yep. Branch went into the portal. Yep. We were just talking about that. So yep. In the portal. Again, it's just the reality of the world we live in, right? Right now with the transfer portal. But I think this linebacking core is going to be a huge hole. It's been a huge hole, and should be probably the top priority. Because again, it's just been, I don't want to call it neglected, but man, they've missed at linebacker these past couple years. I think we can all agree on that. So I think that is going to be the biggest position of need for the Buffs. I think they are going to attack that thing, and we'll see what happens, right? I'm sitting here trying to think of, the linebackers returning. There's not a ton there. So, they're going to have to hit that hard. So that, I would say, that is position one that is the most needed. 2, so I went back and forth with this one a little bit, but I went with cornerback. And the reason I'm here is Buffs really don't have a cornerback. Right? Like, RJ Johnson's coming back, but is he, there's a lot of hype around him last offseason, was playing okay, right? Nothing was great about it. But, the question is, was he good enough to continue playing? And then he got hurt and he's out for quite some time. So, and again, these are guys that have not hit the portal yet. Again, I do not know if they will or will not enter. These are just guys as of right now that are not in the portal. Makari Vickers, he struggled last year, right? In man-to-man as a corner. I'm still high on him when he came over from Oklahoma last year. He is one that I think with more reps, he was a sophomore last year, right? That big step's going to take place this offseason, if it's going to take place, right? But Makari Vickers, I think with time he'll get better. And again, as of right now, he is on the roster. And then Makari Vickers, RJ Johnson coming back again, like we talked. There's not a lot there. Preston Ashley is coming in, but they need an outside cornerback and a slot cornerback due to Hodge graduating, right? And again, I don't want to put that on Preston Ashley. He's coming in as a true freshman. They're not going to start a lot, but and again, I would love for him to start, right? Like, because he's that damn good. I just don't think that's a realistic expectation, right? That we see to place on these freshmen. I believe he will play, but it won't be in that starting role, and if it is, it won't be till later in the season. But I do think that should be the second, cornerback position. So we'll see what they do there. But again, the Buffs have this is the position, and again, RJ Johnson coming back again. Hopefully he comes back better. Makari Vickers, hopefully he gets better with time. But again, I don't think you can count on that. I be careful with it, because last year they went into it. I think it was even prime last year. It was like, I have a room full of guys that could play, right? And as we seen, like, was not the case, right? That was just a really rough, again, one of the worst spots of the defense. There was not a lot of positives from the defense outside of the two freshman ends, right? McPherson and London Merritt, but and I guess Tawfiq Byard. So I'll be cool with that. So, but Tawfiq. Outside of those two guys, I mean, three guys, there wasn't a lot to be very happy about with it, or where you were like encouraged, I guess. So we'll see what they do there. But that slot cornerback position is going to be interesting to me, because again, how often Colorado runs man-to-man. You need a really good slot corner, cover in space, outside corners as well. You're going to be on an island a lot. And they like their corners a little bit taller as well there at CU. So we'll see where they go. And then the second or the third one where I was kind of like, you have to fix this, is D tackle. So not D line, D tackle, because at the edge position, you have London Merritt, you have Alex McPherson, right? Those dudes are going to start next year. And again, not saying that they don't need depth there, but the defensive tackle, Otis is gone, like we talked about again. They will be returning BDS. Christian Hudson's there, and Gabriel Lightfoot, he'll be back. Gabriel Lightfoot was the transfer last year from Fresno State. I said that is a solid group, but they need a dog at D tackle. You need someone that can just, dominate, eat some blocks, get after it, right? You need a, block bully again, essentially. And Colorado, they're going to need that big D tackle, and they're going to need to build some more depth at this position. But I am very excited for Christian Hudson. BDS, I think, is going to be good. And then Gabriel Lightfoot returning. I think Lightfoot is going to have – Lightfoot's going to have a much better season. I think he's going to be healthy and be able to show what he can do. I was high on him last year, but so I hope he shows up ready to roll in spring ball. But again, we'll see where this team is at that point. But I do think they're going to add a couple D tackles, and they need to get a dog. They absolutely need to get a dog there.